Yep. Good to go, says JR. All right, here we go. Let's share this. I didn't realize that. I was unaware of that. National Dog Day. Okay. All right, we're going to go with that. Oh. Wow, condolences go out to our friend David Sammartino. Lost their dog. Oh, hate hearing that. Yep. Hardly. Yes. And there was a lot of news this weekend. This is the real news at noon. Yep. What a night last night. What a Sunday. Whew. And there'll be more tonight. We're going to be out. I got a lead we're going to follow up on where the shooter may be. I'm going to follow up on that. It'll be later this afternoon. No question about it. Yep. Yeah, terrible. Terrible. On his 18th birthday. Well, last night was a road patrol for the road patrol. It was. People are still talking about it. We have a lot more in store, folks. All right, we are live in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yep. Yes. There is a Karen Read update. I may do it. Yep. But not fully, because there are some people that totally just cover that. So we do a lot of the news. So we don't just do that news. There are some people that just do that. Hmm. Yep. All right, folks, we're live in 1 minute. One minute, and we are live. Will we be live later? What do you think? We got to catch them. Someone's got to. If I have to be the one out there, then so be it. And we are live at 12:06. This is the real news at noon. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It is AM 1380. It is 99.9 FM. Now, let me go through the list, the checklist. Now, obviously, north of Providence, you can listen AM 1380. It is a flamethrower, and we also reach into Uxbridge and Franklin up to Worcester, Attleboro, obviously, right over the line, over the Rhode Island line, right there. And so there's no shortage. You can also, in some parts, listen 99.9 FM. So, and then what we have also done is you can then watch the program, part of our live simulcast. And as we speak, we are live on Facebook, But wait, there's more. We're also live on X, and then there's Breeden, and then we're also live, excuse me, on YouTube. So it is just everybody operates differently. It is my thought that you kind of have to. It's like the old thing of why do you rob banks? That's where the money is. You got to go where the people are. So that's why, and also obviously on the website. Now I want to point out what we have on the website, and I'm going to do that in just a moment. But folks, the real news at noon, and it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, where the name of the game is locally sourced vegetables. You can shop local. They have it's a family-run business. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Sweet corn, native tomatoes, name it. Right off of Route 4, maybe you're coming down from the South County beaches, you could pop in. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now remember, they're a full-scale nursery, everything you need to make your home a showstopper. They're open 7 days a week. Gift certificates are available. They have various trees and shrubs, annuals, perennials, hanging pots. Now remember, the next couple of weeks, first of all, number one, it's still August, it's still summertime. But September, October, even early part of November are great months to do planting around your home. Less watering needed. That's when things can take off. Folks, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Now, the website, depetro.com. Let's log on to the website, depetro.com. We will have some of the road patrol and the Providence video of the homicide in Providence. That will be coming up this afternoon. But right now, if you want to see, we were in Cranston yesterday, that Cranston crime scene. I'm just checking out some of that. We also have the West Warwick couple arrested. Hard to believe at one time she was a beauty pageant contestant. More video of the Warwick standoff from last Wednesday, again, when we were live on the scene. That's really good video. We were the first ones to post about the Sheldon White House, how they changed. They're trying to deny that goon, that Union thug is part of it. And then also, I think the story that is still not getting enough play is what happened with Coventry and then ended up in Smithfield. But folks, here's the bottom line. It's all on the website, depetro.com. Now, this is also really important. On the website, depetro.com, you have what they call the dashboard, and you have Meet Me, hello, radio show. Every hour of the radio show, boom, is right there. Now, we also have shop. So we have great merchandise, and that it should be posted, but we were working on other things this morning. But it will be, it's Mug Monday in the shop. So you purchase some merchandise, whether it's a mug or a shirt or a hat, and it supports the show. If you want to advertise, hey, you get to, this is an incredible time to try to, it's not easy to reach many consumers. You have to go where they are. Tremendous time to do it. Look at the news between now and the election. And then if you want to contact me. But I want to point out on the website, and then if you want to support the show, what do you think the yellow button is for? But we have all of our links to social media. For instance, you hear me talk about Facebook. If you log on to depetro.com, you press on that, boom, and it pulls up our Facebook page. Next to it is our X or Twitter page. Next to that is the link to our Instagram page. You want to see what we post on Instagram? It's right there. And then there's our YouTube link. And then if you scroll down, you have our TikTok link. And then we also have Venmo for those that want to support the program. Folks, it's a happening. It's at depetro.com. This is going to be a big week on the website. You're going to have to log on and find out. And remember, it's proudly brought to you by the Coesit Inn. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, Anthony Santos, drinks on the lounge. And remember, they also have the market at Coesit. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. All right, so there's a lot of news at this news at noontime. Now, first of all, we are waiting more information on the Cranston police. If you log on to depetro.com, we do have the Cranston crime scene. And I think yesterday, for many of you that follow the live streaming, you can sense, media, it is what it is. And am I friendly with the media at the crime scenes? I mean, of course I am. However, I just feel, and it's not your imagination, media is on the decline. It's interesting when I'm at a crime scene, for instance, Wednesday in Warwick at the Warwick standoff, And I'm not knocking, but there's so much turnover with all these young reporters. Yeah, Mario Hilario still on NBC 10, but you never see him outside of the studios. But it's just as far as on the street. Long gone are the days of Jack White and Jim Taricani. So that's why if you watch it, when we're live on Road Patrol Live, all of the people come up to the chosen one, and whether they want photos or just to say hello, whatever. And so, I have identified that as the media continues to shrink, every time you turn around, somebody's leaving Channel 12, somebody's leaving Channel 10. Forget about print. That is, print as we knew it is over. I can't tell you the last time. I don't remember the last time I was at a scene and there were print people. Again, radio, I'm not talking about that. But it's really come down to it's our efforts and then the TV stations. And yesterday was a good example. It wasn't your imagination. Not only were we the only ones on the scene in Cranston for the first hour, mapped off. We were there before the crime scene tape went up, and then the medical examiner shows up. At the very end, someone from Channel 10 showed up. I don't know what to tell you. I'm glad I'm there. So the answer is, so there's other news and things happening. It doesn't mean that the news slows down. It just means they just don't have the manpower out there. And that's for a variety of different reasons. So, but it really shows, and that's why, I believe in what our concept is. And again, we have a great team of people, whether it be at the command center or also our moderators. I like good content. If you saw last night when we were on the street, we returned. The police were still on scene because they were still trying to clean up where there was a homicide, an 18-year-old killed on his birthday right there in South Providence, in the doorway of the housing project that he lives in, and his family was getting ready to celebrate. So someone takes him out. So now you have some suspects on the loose. The gunman was apparently with a couple different people. And so when we were on the scene, for those of you that watched it, if you haven't seen it, the video is on YouTube. The video is also on our Facebook page, obviously. But I also actually loaded it. We loaded it to TikTok. So, but we were on the street, and then they were looking for a certain vehicle, and it was a Range Rover with New Jersey plates. Now, do people from New Jersey visit Rhode Island? Yes, 100%. Go down to Narragansett, go to Newport. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely people that do that. I don't know how many Range Rovers with Jersey plates are circling in and around where there had been a shooting. Now, I also want to specify that one of the things, and I won't give away too much. Number one, the suspects or the gunman is still on the loose. That's number one. Number two, what you also have to realize, in a good example of this was the situation in Cranston. That was the fall of October of 2022, almost 2 years ago. So there was a home invasion and armed. And then when they fled, they all split up. And then, the getaway car, he or she takes off. So now the people, they're just running, and then maybe they don't know the city. So my point is, with the Cranston situation, when we were looking for it was 3 fugitives, I believe, on the loose. And they were scattered. And the Cranston police had the drone in the sky, and they had the canines. And they knew that they were in that area and that they were armed. So now the people that are on the loose are texting their friends and or family, whoever, come get me. So my point is, many times when something happens, whether it's a robbery or a homicide, the plan blows up. People panic. Various things go wrong. And suddenly, people that are part of it are suddenly just running and hiding and various things. So my point is, it's my understanding what police many times will do is they flood an area because it's very possible someone connected to the crime is still, and again, if you have someone from out of state, where are you? I don't know. I'm hiding in the back of a warehouse. Where's your phone? I dropped it or whatever. I don't know. I'm low. My battery is running low. They're trying to find the person. The cell runs out. A variety of different things. Remember, not everybody that commits these crimes are of their full mind. Many times there's been alcohol involved. There could be drugs involved. So they're not exactly thinking clearly. My point is, many times the people that are associated with it are then circling the area to try to find the person to then get them, as we saw in Cranston that time when it was the Block Island Ferry fighters, where then they were looking and to try to pick up the person that was one of the fugitives. They grabbed him, and then those of you that follow, the work, that the woman was the getaway car. She was then yelling at me, "What are you doing? You're always here filming people," just like at the Block Island Ferry. So last night there was a very good possibility that those individuals, it did seem odd that they're staying in that area as if they've lost someone or something and they're trying to locate it. So that was, I think that was pretty good content last night, where suddenly, we pick up that they're looking for a vehicle. And then as I'm riding, there it is. And then you can watch the video. And then I start following it. And then you see the two individuals that got into the vehicle at the Wendy's on Eddy Street. It looks like out of Central Casting. It looks like out of, if you were going to say, all right, we're going to do a film or a Netflix or a TV show or a video or something like that, we're going to have it with this like a, homicide, gang activity in the inner city. These guys could absolutely play the part. So they get in, so we're following. And then, if you saw the police response, that was nine Providence police cruisers, boom, that descend on the whole thing. So my point is, we will be out later, and we'll see exactly what happens with that case. I did get some information. We're following up on some different leads. I want to touch on something that someone sent me. I'm glad to be on Instagram. We're also on Instagram. This year, coming out of the whole cancer surgery, one of the things I thought was, I think we'll boost up our Instagram, and it is rocketed. We started, I was always like right around 4,000 followers. And then in February, I thought, okay, we're going to start doing it more. I'm going to do more updates. Boom. We're at 32,000, which is, you add that up. That's pretty healthy. It's like 4,000 new people a month. That's not easy to do. But I want to touch on some remarks that people are saying. But first, I want to remind you about AJ Drywall Plasters and Home Improvement. Call them today, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They will do it all. If you're listening or watching on this Monday and you've been thinking of fixing up your home or business, maybe you're just going to have some painting done inside. Hey, fresh coats of paint can change the entire look of a home. AJ Drywall Plasters, Home Improvement. Call them today, 401-323-9252. You want to use as much space as possible in your home or business, and especially in your home. Maybe you have an unfinished basement or garage. AJ Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Free quote. Give them a call. So someone, and I want to be very clear about this to clear this up, just in case there's any type of ambiguity involved with this. But first, I also want to remind you folks, I did get an email from Patty who said she heard me mention a tree person, and they want to get some of their tree limbs, limbs trimmed. And Patty, what you want to do is you want to contact JD Lawn Care and Tree Service. Give them a call. Now is the time to do it. If you have some trees that look like they're problematic, let's not wait until we get a hurricane, September, October, and then suddenly, boom, it comes crashing down. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service, 401-441-0154. It's JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service, and I share their Facebook. I want to be very clear to the criminals maybe that are watching, because I get these remarks of people of, hey, you seem biased, and you know what, you had no right to be highlighting to the police where the vehicle was, that you're supposed to not take some. Let me be very crystal clear, as if I have to. I am not on your side. Okay, I want to help the police every possible way that I can. Never think that we're not trying to help the police. Like I know there are some members of the media like that. I'm not one of them. For me, it's very black and white. This is a battle of good versus evil. If I have any information on a criminal and a crime and someone wanted, boom, of course we're going to highlight it to the police. Hey, you're not supposed to be. No, no, no. You are mistaking me for someone, for whatever reason, who's not. I am totally biased. Totally biased. I don't know the answer to that. If Channel 10 or 12, if they knew of something that they wouldn't do, that's not what we're doing here. We are trying to assist. Now, by the way, there are some local media outlets, Go Local Fraud, who attack the Providence police, who attack the Cranston police. We don't do that. I don't do that. We support them. We encourage them 100%. We are part of, it is crime fighting. The streets are being overrun. Now, keep in mind, someone said to me, how would you describe it? What you do, because more people are paying attention to it. I said, here's a good way to describe my philosophy. We're the anti-McKee. Now, Governor McKee, he's all about importing crime. He's not one of the worst governors. Let me be very clear about this. He's not one of the worst governors we've ever had. He's the worst governor, he and Matos. All they do is import crime. And I want to repeat, it is shameful, the station down the dial, my old station with Pork Boy and everything, how they enable and protect this guy, meaning Governor McGreed, who's under FBI investigation, who no one's being accountable for the bridge. That is ludicrous. The FBI are investigating it, and all they do is protect him. In for a penny, in for a pound. Well, we just asked the questions. BS. But McKee, look all he does is import poverty. He encourages all illegals, cartels, everyone, set up shop in Rhode Island. It's mind-blowing what he's doing. He's making us all dangerous. Keep in mind, Governor McKee and Matos want to legalize illicit drugs. The experiment has failed everywhere they've tried that. There was somewhere in Canada they tried that. They've got rid of it. Governor McKee, no, it's going to be better for the state if there's more people that are using meth and heroin and oxy and coke. How is that remotely a positive? The guy is just, we are being punished, and he stole the election, by the way. And they're so pathetic, W. McKee RO, how they enable him and hold his hand, and they have him on and ask this. The fact that they allow a surrogate to be on 3 hours a day. If we didn't have McKee, the crime in Rhode Island would drop by 50%. He's just, the guy it's full corruption. And you can't not blame him. In many of the incidents, folks, that you're hearing about, and I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. But we highlight it. I don't hide it. It's not your imagination. Many times the McKee people will reach out, other members of the media, and they try to have them downplay many of the things, like the situation of the guy that came here and tried to kill that woman from Coventry and steal her car. Much the same way, and they can be bought. Governor, the McKee administration, they took a bunch of money and they placed it on the station down the dial with Pork Boy, and suddenly all the traffic reports don't mention how bad the traffic is. Don't tell me it's not connected. It's a form of corruption. They buy them off. Ludicrous. But the crime stuff, like we will become more of a magnet of these people, and they're desperate. They're desperately doing things, looking for money for drugs, and it's going to accelerate. You can't operate. And I want to tell you, in just a moment, folks. And again, this portion of our program is brought to you by Propane Plus. Remember, for all your propane needs, contact Propane Plus. McGreed in Chicago. Harris Walls. Harris Walls is the last thing this country needs. But I'm going to touch on that. But folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Propane Plus. Call them today for all your propane needs in Rhode Island, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. If you use propane, contact Propane Plus. They also have a great website, propaneplus.com. Residential or commercial, type in your zip code, boom. It's Propane Plus for heating and cooling. So more and more of the crime, if you watch it, it's getting more and more of people saying, like, what is going on around here? And I don't remember these types of crimes. And it's McGreed, you can't have a governor that is telling there's room for everybody to come in here. Now, there's also, we have become a target, the state has, for cartel crime. And it's something that I'm going to expose, that I've learned about for some time now. But if you notice, there's starting to be more organized robberies. There was a situation in North Kingstown where it's 4 of them, and they have mass, and they hit 4 stores in a morning. So they're not locals. He's importing crime. Now, you had just a couple of weeks ago, on Saturday, we were at RI Gun and Ammo on Post Road. It was 4 of them again. And they, boom, backed their car into the gun store, and they stole 25 to 30 handguns. Why? We are on the map. This is the type of crime you have when you're running a sanctuary state. And we should be the opposite of that. We're close to New York. We're close to New Jersey. We're situated between Massachusetts and Connecticut. We should be the opposite of those states. We should be the state that's not a sanctuary state. We should be the state that's tough on crime. We should be the state that doesn't have all these illicit drugs. So that's, you can't separate it. When you operate the type of policies that McGreed wants, he's big on open borders. He's big on cartel crime. He wants to lift restrictions on illicit drugs. You're going to attract a certain element that's going to come here. There's just no two ways about it. And no one can tell me differently of that. So now, folks, also, I want to stay on schedule because, I don't know what to make of it. Look at some of the incidents. There was a home invasion in a very nice section of Cranston over the weekend. And, I'm hearing details. Granted, the whole thing does sound a little odd and suspicious, and then yesterday, you can see the video on our Facebook page and YouTube channel of exactly what was going on in Cranston. I just think we're at an impasse where people have to decide, and you have to decide. Now, where that crime scene was, that it's overlooking Garden City. And that's a nice area where it happened, right on Reservoir. I just think people are going to have to decide, is this the type of state that you want to live in? I lived in New York City. When you're going to live in New York, there's certain types of crime you have to put up with and accept. But when you move to a place or live in a place like a Rhode Island or a suburb of Mass, Bellingham, right? You just don't expect that type of crime. So people are going to have to make a decision, but no one can tell me that it's not connected. It is. It's a magnet. They go where they can gather and organize and commit these crimes. It's really hard to underestimate the damage that Governor McGreed is really putting on the state. But I think the police can't be everywhere, and the police can only do so much. So, and I know, like, people blame Elorza. Mayor Smiley has cut down on quality of life type crimes in the city of Providence. He absolutely has. No one can tell me differently. I'm there all the time. And one of the first things he did was the ATM thing. That was all Elorza. But the progressives are very strong at the State House. And it's also, going into some other elements of life. The worst thing that can happen is when things are happening and they start to become acceptable. So now, this portion of the program, I'll tell you what's unacceptable is foot pain. If you have foot pain, it's not normal. You shouldn't have to live with it. And you won't if you contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. Make an appointment today, 401 949 3220. 401 949 3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. They're right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. 3 certified doctors, 3 certified, board certified podiatrists. They take all health insurance. They can treat you, whether it is skin conditions, bunions, hammer toe, plantar fasciitis. Many times people have a sprain or they've even broken their ankle. It didn't heal properly. Foot pain is not normal, should not be ignored. Call, set up an appointment, 401 949 3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. All right. Now, the homicide that happened in Providence, and we will be out later. It is my understanding as the hunt for the killer is certainly very active, but that is, we don't know enough about, but you have an 18-year-old. It's his 18th birthday. He lives in South Providence. He's getting ready to celebrate. His name is Darmani Balbuna, 18 years old. So he's leaving his wherever he is, and it's Rhodes Street, which is right off Eddy Street, and it's in South Providence. And suddenly they find him suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. Rushed to the hospital, pronounced dead. Now, for those of you that watched Road Patrol last night, I mean, it clearly had to have been a tough scene to witness, because they had to bring in the cleaning company so it was in like the doorway of that. Preliminary investigation showed he was outside during a gathering when a family heard a gunshot and they found him in the home's foyer. So there's a bunch of people out there. He's there, he's in the foyer, and then boom, 18 years old on the birthday, 6th homicide of the city. I also want to point out, there's some people that I want to commend. And one is the chief of police in Providence, Chief Oscar Perez. Boom, came to the scene, addressed the media, told us what he could. Yesterday in Cranston, you had soon-to-be senator, but Commander Padalano, Todd Padalano, came right over. Here's what we have. Folks, the police are doing all they can. Hey, last Wednesday in Warwick, that was very impressive, where then Major Joel Thomas came out and addressed the media. We don't have a law enforcement problem. They can only keep up with so much. We have, it is the politicians, whether it's in Massachusetts where you have Governor Healy importing in all those migrants that have just totally swamped the state, or it's the policies that Governor McGreed is putting in that are allowing all these things. And basically, it leads to lawlessness. It doesn't have to be that way. And whenever these crimes are committed, by the way, many times, as you see, and especially how, oh, good. Yeah, I'm so glad. So the O'Keefe family has filed a wrongful death suit against Karen Reed. Good. She can't hide now. OJ couldn't hide. So glad for the O'Keefe family. I'll address that later on TikTok. I will address that later on TikTok. But many times we're out, you see, many of the people are totally fine in the inner city. And if anything, you see them coming up to me and they're so grateful, and he's the only one that covers things. But when you see that, it's many of the policies that the progressives, and keep in mind, Governor McKee is a progressive, If Governor McKee, the governor of Rhode Island, is standing there saying, I am fully on board with Harris and Walz, he's endorsing their policies that we know are very, very radical. It's for open borders. Kamala Harris wants to get rid of your private health insurance. Anywhere that they've had that, it's a disaster. We don't want that. You want do you want to, you need something done? Okay, we'll put you on the list. Whatever it is, you need a hip replacement, something done. Okay, well, we'll put you on the list. Here's the thing. Anyone that talks about that we should get rid of private insurance and then have, universal health care, all you have to ask yourself is, would you want your health care to be the way it is dealing with a state or government agency, which is, it's all these state employees, whether it's even though, the DMV has made a lot of corrections, I'll give them that. But by and large, most of the time, heavily unionized, and they just create problems. By the way, as I'm mentioning Cranston, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Volare Motors. And I am so impressed with Paul, who's the owner at Volare Motors, Paul Staskevich. See, I like people that will step up and, so to speak, kind of put their money where their mouth is. And he's one of them. Great prices, great vehicles, great service, located 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston. If you're listening or watching on this Monday, and maybe think of getting, well, it's time for a better vehicle, newer vehicle, pre-owned vehicle, Volare Motors, 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston. Paul has a business in the city. He lives in the city. He's also running for office in the city. Volare Motors. He's running for Cranston Citywide Council. And you want people like that. You want people. He's willing to say, I'm going to run my business here, and I'm going to live here. New England's #1 dealer in used pre-owned Volvo sales and service. Great prices, great vehicles. Volare Motors in Cranston. And remember, what makes them tick is their service department with Stephen the mechanic. Stop in and see Paul he's one of us, Volare Motors. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. So I do want to, at 12:39, I do want to touch on some of the, this Karen Read. This is a wrongful death suit that the family of John O'Keefe have filed against Karen Read. And I want to just get into some of the particulars on it because, and again, by and large, this is interesting. The lawsuit will also be how the cruel conspiracy finally dies. Months steadfast Karen deliberately created a false story, evade responsibility. Defendant Read outrageously created a false narrative. Emotional injury, severe physical pain, anguish, emotional distress. Notwithstanding her Fifth Amendment right not to speak, Defendant Read chose to speak publicly. She knowingly, deliberately changed her story, fabricated a conspiracy. This is in the wrongful death suit. The O'Keefe family, have filed against Karen Read, knowing the same to be false. She publicly communicated this false narrative, thereby frustrating justice for J.J. John. Such false narrative caused the plaintiff aggravated emotional distress. Now, there's a reason why. There's a limit to how much I discuss the Karen Read. I'll discuss it on Court TV. I attended the trial, but if you this is the several facets of this, but something that I want to point out is you want to watch The Truth versus Alex Jones on HBO or Newsmax. So, because The Truth versus Alex Jones highlights what happened with Alex Jones and Sandy Hook. And you because I have found the same type of thing where there's a lot of similarities here, which is, and I'm limited of how much I actually want to talk about it, but I'll explain why. Because the people that get into the conspiracy, You can't. It's not like having a rational discussion. They're not looking for the truth. All they're looking for is information to further, excuse me, further the conspiracy. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Um, One of the best lines in, and it's worth watching. It came out in the spring. I have no idea why it got past me. Maybe because I think I know the story, but you hear from the family members and you really see it. But one of the best things they talk about is when the family says, and she says, I learned the hard way. You can't argue, because all they do is they just keep adding on new things. These people that were going after the families at Sandy Hook. And by the way, there's someone, I won't say who it is, that I've been friendly with. And she was a Trump supporter. I can't even, anyone that would support that. Alex Jones had to apologize and admitted to the families that his accusations were false. And there were still people that go along with that. And I'm not going to get into it, but you only have so much energy, and you have to decide, do you really want to waste time? They're not open-minded. They're people, they're just looking for more information to further the conspiracy. But it's their problem. It's not my problem. It's the problem of them. It's the problem of their family and friends. It's kind of, I'm not going to give a good analogy, but it's almost like if there's someone that has a drinking problem and they won't get help, there's nothing you can do about it. If there's someone that is so vested in these hoaxes and conspiracies that they won't see the truth, and nor do I have any interest in it. And I'll just give you one more. I posted a thing on TikTok over the weekend. If you are a free Karen Read person, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to insult you. I just want to know one thing. What was the motive? None of them can come up with a motive. They know all these other things. They know things about all these details and blah, blah, blah. But none of them can come up with a motive. Excuse me. Motive is one of the 3 ingredients when it comes to a serious crime. It's motive means an opportunity. Opportunity is important. If someone wasn't there and couldn't have committed the crime, it's wiped out. Means, so-and-so shot someone. Did that person have a gun? No. Well, if they were shot and that person didn't have a gun, they didn't have the means to do it. So it's motive, means, and opportunity. None of them can come up with motive because there was no motive. So, but I want to just go through this. Plaintiff incorporated in the complaint on the date of the crash. They're talking about her drinking and driving. Maybe I'm going to have to go through this a little bit later, but I want to just get through some of it. But here's what you should know about it is that she can't run from this. And remember, and we'll talk about this with our legal expert, but Karen Read criminally did not have to testify, and she didn't in her own defense. But you, as OJ found, you can't in a civil situation. So I don't know how much impact this is going to have. I can tell you initially, since this is happening, that the people that are very vested probably aren't sure how to react to this yet because they haven't been told how to react to it yet. So, and then they will probably stay in it. But again, I want to come back to, and it depends on whether or not if people really want to, know the truth. That's what I would come to. And my argument would be many of them, I just wanted to read some of the highlights of it, is how they get into her, how she started the conspiracy. So, and I know there are people, all they do is turn around and say corruption, but the O'Keefe family filing this, by the way, I think it's going to be the first of many. And by the way, I still get messages of people, first of all, free Karen Read. She is free. She's out on bail. She is free. There are some people, they don't want the truth. They will forever get into it. But one thing that this clarifies is that the family, the O'Keefe family, wants her found guilty. And there was a part that I wanted to just touch on, and here it is. At approximately 4:30, she knew she had hit John O'Keefe with her SUV. Nonetheless, she woke up the 14-year-old niece, Kaylee, talked about his death, talked about hitting him, and involved her in the frantic calls about the death. Defendant Reed knew Kaylee was a vulnerable minor, had already lost both parents. Reed left at 5:07. Reed knew he was seriously injured in the snow. Left him to die earlier. On January 29th, 2022, she repeatedly admitted that she had hit him. And then she arrived there. That's what they come back to, is just she never called 911 and could have called 911. So this will be broken out, I assure you, in many of the people that, whether they realize it or not, that they are involved with the hoax, because that's what it is. Sandy Hook was a hoax. Alex Jones said to the families, "I'm really sorry about this. It just got away from me." So that's what this is. But that's pretty significant that the O'Keefe family are now going to go after her civilly. And by the way, that doesn't take away, she still has then the criminal trial. I believe many of the people involved with this case, there's just going to start to be lawsuits all over the place. There are. The dam is going to break. Karen Reed is now going to be dealing with many different lawsuits, and it's going to take a while. But I think it's interesting. They're not waiting for the second trial. And this is clarifying where the family stands on it, And she can't run from a civil trial. The laws are different. The laws are different in a civil trial, as O.J. Simpson found out. Folks, this portion of our program, and I want to remind you, if you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, contact J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730, letter J. Perry Paving. Free estimate, high quality, fair pricing. And remember, if you are a veteran, there's no one better with a package for veterans than J. Perry Paving. So as you're listing on this Monday, if you'd like to have your driveway paved or your parking lot paved, J. Perry Paving, call them for a free estimate, 401-732-1730. You can find them online and also on Facebook, letter J. Perry Paving. I want to be very clear about the Karen Reed trial, and that is that I'm not interested in debating the people. I'm not. I want to come back to, if you want to see the similarities, watch on HBO Max The Truth versus Alex Jones, because the Sandy Hook families found out the hard way that you can't reason with people that are in a conspiracy, because they're not looking for the truth. And I'll give various examples of, with the Karen Reed case, when I was first hearing about it, many of the things I was initially told have proven to be false, but they just ignored and they just keep moving on to the next thing. I was told, what kind of investigation? They couldn't find one of his sneakers. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a sloppy investigation. The guy had 2 sneakers. They couldn't find one. That was not true. They did find another sneaker. I was told, what kind of investigation? He didn't have his belt. Maybe because he took it off in the house. I'm thinking, all right, well, that's odd. He had a belt on here. Now they find the body. He doesn't have a belt on. That was another lie. He didn't have the belt on. I could go down the list. The 227 Google thing, proven false. But the people that are involved, they never acknowledge that a lot of the stuff, they never say, oh, wow, that was fake. They just move on to another kernel of that. And there was someone that when the Sandy Hook thing was decided, there was someone that their defense was, well, Alex Jones wasn't the only one. Well, yeah, but that's true. That's kind of like a tepid defense of him. But he certainly was the most high profile, and you can't separate what he did and then the power of InfoWars. And I'll tell you how sick it got with InfoWars. And it is, you have to realize there's some real nuts out there. And when you're doing some of this stuff, you could be tapping into someone who is very unhinged. There was this nutcase from Texas. He flew to Connecticut and showed up at the family of one of the families that lost their had their child killed at Sandy Hook. So I mean, that's what we're talking about. You're inflaming and encouraging people, and it's all based on a lie. So now, if you are one of those people right now, and you're saying, "Well, there was something odd about it," I don't know what to tell you. Did Alex Jones and Sandy Hook and that whole hoax that he fabricated, I'll tell you how bad it got. It got so bad that there were people contacting the families and saying, well, the only way to prove this is we want to go to the cemetery and exhume and dig up where your children are buried. I mean, it is, who in their right mind would say that? We know what happened. You would say to a parent, can you imagine losing a child? It's so horrific when, first of all, it's a loss of life with anyone. It's even worse. You know, there was a 10-year-old killed riding with their family because some drunken moron coming from the Kenny Chesney concert stole a Jeep and slammed into them, and death of that. We had in North Providence just a couple weeks ago a young child drowned in a pool. There is something about when a young child loses their life. So as if that's not difficult enough, now you have these strangers who you don't even know saying, will you allow us to, then we want to dig up the great, like it's so beyond the pale. I can't even fully express what I would like to do to the people that do that, but this is one of the parents from Sandy Hook, and it changed the way I react and cover the Karen Read trial, and it's right here.
That I've learned the hard way. No matter what you do, they're never going to believe. They say, show us the death certificates. Oh, that's a forgery. Show us the pictures. Oh, that's a forgery. Show us proof that your kid ever existed. Oh, you just made that up. You can't win.
She is exactly
point arguing with them. That I've learned the hard way. No matter what you do.
That is a mother. There's no point in arguing with them. No matter what you do. Show us a death certificate. Okay, here's the death certificate of my 6-year-old. That's fake. Well, then show us a photo of the child. Here's the photo. That's a forgery. What's the point? So that's where I come out. You can't. It's not worth it. So, and there are people right now that are so vested in it, they're not searching for the truth. They just keep searching for things that will help them support it. And finally, so the big news of the day is the O'Keefe family, Paul O'Keefe, who I really like and respect and admire, and I'm glad I got a chance I would speak with him and his family at the courthouse. They have filed a wrongful death suit against Karen Read. The people that are part of the Free Karen Read movement, they'll just dismiss it. They'll dismiss it, but they have no interest. Like right now, we're waiting to see who the Providence police will arrest for the homicide that took place yesterday in the city of Providence. I'm not vested in it. So we are open. I think we're open to, boy, what happened here and who's responsible and how did it play out like that? So, but the people that follow it, there are people, they're very, very vested. And, you know, another point I want to make about this, Alex Jones, he made a fortune. I had no idea the amount of money InfoWars was making. So people would say, why would someone do that? Because they're making money. And he was making a lot of money. They would post a story about Sandy Hook, and they would generate in one day $250,000 in revenue. In one day. Now think, and they did this for years. Alex, he made millions off this whole thing. Millions. The whole purpose of it was to make money. That's it. He even admitted to the families. He said, I'm really sorry. It did happen. I didn't mean this thing just got away from me. That's what he said to the families in court. So, and there are still people to this day that will say something was going on. Folks, this portion of the program on this Monday, but I'm glad for the O'Keefe family. But again, I'm not debating, or I'm not. I have people I get all these invitations. Come on and debate it. But for what? You're talking about, that's like debating. If there's someone that believes the world is flat, I'm not going to be the one to debate again. I have no time or energy. You want to believe that? Go ahead. Whatever. Elvis is alive. Fine. Good. Tell him I said hello. JFK Jr. is alive. Oh, good. Good. I hope he's fine. I'm glad he's been hiding. Folks, this portion of the program, if you think of a new kitchen or bath, Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen, one-stop shop. I did a live stream with them. They have a beautiful showroom right on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick. It's Dream Maker. Call them 401-433-7272. Dream Maker. Respect, integrity, customer focus. Dennis and Christina are just remarkable. What they could do for your kitchen or bath. Look for them on Facebook. They're really fantastic. Or call them 401-433-7272. If you're right now thinking of getting a new kitchen or upgrading your kitchen or bath, contact Dream Maker today, 401-433-7272. And again, I do share their Facebook page. Well, folks, good afternoon. Now, coming up next hour on the radio show, Politics This Week with Justin Katz. We will talk about, I'm glad for Patricia Morgan, Senator Whitehouse still won't acknowledge that was a union goon that attacked that elderly woman, a member of the Sheldon Whitehouse campaign. We'll talk about that and a lot more. It's next hour on the radio show. We will be doing Road Patrol Live later this afternoon as the hunt goes on for the killer in Providence. Right now, let's get you up to speed. The news of the day. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Another full hour of the radio show is coming up. You don't want to miss it. Politics This Week. You can listen at the website, depetro.com, or listen AM 1380 and 99.9 FM.